We're live here on YouTube. It is Thursday. It is the 5th day of February, 2026. My goodness, time flies when you're having fun. Apparently, it is just the case. Hey, I want to talk about something that's always intrigued me, and that has to do with Darren Peck, the CBS News Bay Area, KPIX, meteorologist, who, and I get this question, not a lot, but enough to, hey, Rich, what's the deal with Darren Peck? Why isn't he more prominently featured on Channel 5? He does a pretty good job. He's distinctive enough. He's got a little bit of a personality, yada, 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 that kind of stuff. And, I did a little research, right? Not scientific research, but I did a little research and I discovered that there's a really good reason why Darren Peck is perfectly content to be the second fiddle, the second banana at PIX. And that has to do with not just the money, which ironically pays him more than he would be making if he were the more prominent Monday through Friday guy at KPIX. Turns out that the Peck, is fine being a number two, and specifically wants to be a number two at Channel 5. He figures that gives him more leverage, that allows him to be a sort of a key asset to the organization. He willingly does not want to be a Monday through Friday guy. Well, he may have changed his mind, he may have altered his feelings, but recent indications are that the Peck man is happy doing the chores that he does at KPIX on the weekend. He fills in during the week. He also does the radio stint, not much of a deal, but he's on the radio at KCBS. So you might wonder, well, again, why is that too? Well, look, certain people want prominent roles, certain people do not. They feel like first of all, management is not there on the weekends, generally speaking. There tends to be a more of a lighter feeling in that regard, whether it's KPIX, KGO, whether it's NBC News, CBS News. Some people prefer working in whatever capacity on the weekend. There's less people, less of the, as we call them, the big to do, the suits walking around, the people that make the decisions, and some are more relaxed, some are more contrite and perfectly happy working in whatever capacity. Like I said, in this case, the weather. Look, has Peck worked his way into a more prominent role? Yes, he has. Sometimes I think he's actually pretty funny, and he's not trying to be funny, which is even better, which makes you even funnier, because if you just have that kind of acerbic, wry sense of humor, that means you're even funnier. Okay. If you try to be funny, that's very difficult to do. That's very difficult to do. And Peck has developed a personality, a style, which works in his favor. Okay. And, for the record, not only is he on during the weekend, I mentioned some of his other time slots, but he seems to relish working holidays, which is tough, especially in San Francisco, especially when, because a lot of people want the holidays off. They don't want to work Christmas. They want to be home with their families. Apparently, Peck doesn't have that large of a family. Got a girlfriend, has an interesting life off the screen, does a lot of charitable work. Look, have I found fault with him? yeah, this is a real subjective type of a deal, but sometimes he can be a little bit too smart alecky, a little too cocky, a little too, shall we say, happy, a little too sure of himself. Look, that's subjective, obviously, duh. But when you develop a style and when you have a personality to boot, and people view you as kind of cocky, as kind of maybe have possessing an acerbic kind of a wit, eh, that's good stuff. I'm up and down with the Peck man. Okay. I think he's cool at times. I think he can be funny at times, sometimes a little too sure of himself, a little bit too weathery, if you know what I mean. I don't have to hear about 15 different high pressure systems. I don't have to necessarily know every minute about the water supply in the Bay Area. Give us the weather. That's great. If you want to inject some of your own style into it, that's great too. Don't be afraid. And it's there where I think the Peck Band does a pretty good job. You don't necessarily always have to be numero uno. You don't have to be a Monday through Friday, excuse me, anchor, weather anchor to do an effective job. Same subject matter. I want to give you this information that I heard. I heard that the powers at B at KTVU, one of whom met with Pecker and offered the job of being the 10 o'clock news anchor at Channel 2. Peck wasn't interested. He's more content to remain on the west side of the Bay. He's got a house nearby, and for whatever it's worth. Shows you what they think of whoever's doing the job at Channel 2 at 10 o'clock. Not a lot. This is Rich Lieberman. Thanks for watching. Become a member on my YouTube channel, and we will see you later. Okay? Thanks.